Sup?
Hey, I wish you could just, turn down just the volume of the Skype calling, and that's it, because that ringer goes off, and I'm usually looking down at my phone, and I jump every time. It's so loud.
It's a jump scare. It's a built-in jump scare.
It's just the Skype ring.
It's a feature.
The rest of it is fine. It's balanced. But,
yeah, and it's funny because it's new technology, and everything else in the world has the ability to change the volume of the ringer while leaving the in-call volume the same, but not Skype. Yeah. Skype's like, nope, this is what you get.
It's like they want us to switch to Zoom.
Everybody's on that Zoom.
Zoom, they started this pandemic, right? We can all agree on that.
That's the deep state theory right now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's. I just wanted to clarify that was indeed the case. Okay.
They weren't getting enough traction with their podcast ads. So
I had never heard of Zoom before this pandemic. Never.
That's so funny because I would hear it mentioned on podcasts. Just be one of those segue ads. Haha, you're going to get right back to your question about that time you fought the Big Show in 1995. But first, let's talk about Zoom. Are you ever in need to go to a meeting? No, Mr. Wrestler podcast host, you never need to have a conference call because all your meetings happen in the squared circle. So, what are you talking about?
I had never heard of it. It was very weird.
Are you usually good about tuning out podcast ads when you hear them?
I skip them.
Yeah.
I usually fast forward through them. Unless I'm my hands are tied up and I can't, I immediately am click, click. I'm doing the 30 seconds ahead every time.
Even the creative ones, if they put some work into it, we're going to add a little bit of spice to this. We're going to make it a story.
On occasion, I would listen to the Pod Save ads because Love It was so funny.
Yeah.
On the Pod Save America ads, but not really. I don't care. In the same way that I understand ads sell television shows and stuff like that, I'm cool with ads, but I'm never buying any of this stuff. Also, I've noticed most ads for things are stuff that's priced out of my range anyway.
That's true. And if it is something,
most of these ads are for things that I'm who the fuck are you selling this to? You're not selling this to the average person.
No, they're selling it to the super fan of the show, the ones that want to support the show and what they do. So they're enter this promo code, and you're gonna let them know that you heard it here.
Right. So when they promote something like Honey,
yeah,
I understand that because or the Cash App or things like that. When they're talking about how to hire people, ZipRecruiter stuff, or they're talking about this luggage that costs $300 for this one piece of luggage or something crazy like that. There's a couple of those types of things. I'm really, who is this for?
It's wild. It's really wild.
Who, how is this? It confuses me because I'm who's listening to these? Where they're yeah, let's invest in that.
Oh, geez, I'm really in a bind. I went on this trip, made a lot of money, but I just, my luggage it imploded on itself. I need some luggage. I'm going to think about it. But while I do, I'm going to tune up this podcast. I'm going to listen to Dan Harmon, see what he's got to say.
Right. I understand everyone listens to podcasts of different wealth backgrounds and everything. But there's always things that I'm how does this even exist in the first place? Being so expensive.
Yeah, I feel if you're the type of person that can just on a whim buy that expensive $300 luggage, without thinking twice about it, enough to put in a promo code so they know that it was the podcast that sold you. I feel you're the type of person that could probably finagle that luggage for free based on your name alone. But who knows?
It's a very confusing. I don't I barely understand how they can be in business with certain overpriced things.
Yeah.
Let alone they're paying for this marketing, and then that is paying off enough where they keep investing in it. Who the fuck is buying this stuff?
I'll give you one that always just blows my mind no pun intended. AdamandEve.com. They always, early on in podcasting, like you'd hear their ads all the time on like Marin, on the Kevin Smith stuff. It's like, okay, really, who's listening to this podcast that has the technological wherewithal to find and listen to a show, stream it without any type of hitch, but still needs to physically mail out to get their pornography and or sex toys to the point where they're like, oh, I need advice. Who do I turn to? I need thong underwear. I'm gonna go to AdamandEve.com. That's it. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin Smith. You know all things sexy times.
Right. It's just very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
It is.
I don't quite get it. I mean, I know that most of them are working with firms that are selling like package deals for advertising and everything like that. But
yeah,
like
you're all caught up with Maisel.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for those who aren't caught up, this is not a big spoiler. It's a minor thing. If you care about that, skip ahead a little bit. But when she's doing the reads, in the last season, and right. They're paying her in kind and stuff like that. That's just so. I hope that's not how the industry operates anymore, because I kind of want to get into it, but I don't want to get paid in diapers. That'd be nice not to have that happen.
I mean, I'm sure that there's unions and stuff that can prevent that.
Yeah.
But you got to work first to get in the union, so.
There's always a catch. You need experience before you can get experience.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I just saw this just a person talking about this on Twitter, and I barely looked at our show notes, but I know we don't have a lot to talk about, so I figure we can explore this.
Yeah.
No offense to you who made the show notes. He was talking about like, oh, you guys all think that movie theaters are dying after this, like, and you and I briefly talked about that.
Right.
Messaging each other like, movie theaters are probably dead after this. Like, how do you ever recover? They were already in trouble.
Yeah.
And he said, offices are the real things that are dead.
Interesting.
After this. The reason I thought of this is because we're talking about experience for experience.
Mm-hmm.
I have looked at jobs in the past that are writing jobs, which you can do fully remote, that require you to move to a city.
That's ridiculous.
Like New York or LA.
Yeah.
And so that you can go into an office.
Mm-hmm.
Or even podcasting jobs. Like, there was a job that Pod Save America, their company, was doing, and I was like, I'd be perfect for this. And you have to be in LA to come into, like, a couple days a week to an office. And it's like, why? For a lot of jobs, we don't need to do that. You can have Skype calls, email communications, text messages, phone calls, all of that. And so him pointing out that, like, and then he went into further detail where he's like, these companies are going to see all of the money that they're saving by not having it open,
right.
all of the sick days that they're saving by not having people in one area, and then we're going to see reduced emissions. Like,
mm-hmm.
People are not going to have to waste gas money.
Right.
And the negative factors of, like, your kids are around so you can't get work done or whatever, when we have normal socialization again and kids are back in school, those can kind of be negated.
Right.
So I think that's a really interesting idea of, how many offices will just never reopen after this and people will be working from home?
That's an interesting theory. Like, I saw that being tossed around a lot last week during week
mm-hmm.
1. But now that we're in week 2, I think people are starting to, I think the bloom is starting to fall off the flower a little bit, because
I don't think he was saying it in a good way. And
yeah.
I don't think it's going to be everyone. But I also think the things that people don't like about working from home right now or being home right now is that they can't not be home.
Right, but hear me out. What I'm saying is it's not the workers that are seeing the benefits of it. I'm saying it's the management, the decision makers,
right,
that are seeing the pros and cons now. Because 1 week out, working from home, yes, everyone is rallying together. We all know that, this is a real situation. Folks want to get this over with as quickly as possible, but in the back of our minds, everybody is hoping and praying that this is something that's going to blow over very quickly. Now, week 2 comes along.
We're going to be in it for months, but okay. Continue.
Exactly. Week 2 comes along, the second full week of working from home. And now managers have to worry about productivity. They have to worry about people, being accountable for time when they're not hovering over them, if that's your type of job. So while, it is good not to have to pay for office space and the emissions are something to take into consideration, there's also the factor of having a full staff off site that needs to learn new processes because, productivity doesn't stop just because you're out of the office. There's always going to be a new hitch. There's always going to be some type of odd request that a customer has or something like that. And even my job. My day job, we're dealing with that right now. We have customers coming to us asking us to reinvent the wheel in certain ways for what we do. And it's like, well, we could help you, but it's going to take this many extra man hours. And since we're not face to face, we can't bounce ideas off of each other. And conference calls only take you so far because, like you said, there's a kid next to you and the dog's looking like he's got to go outside. So there's pros and cons to be considered. Money's always going to win out, unfortunately. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about the reduction of smog in LA. They just care about the bottom line. And if the bottom line says I'm making more money by half the office not coming to the office, then we're going to see some layoffs, I think. Even more so. Yeah.
I don't think it's about layoffs, though. I think it's about just more remote working. I think remote working is the future for a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs that are just not required for you to go in. There's a lot of jobs out there that it makes no sense for you to go in.
That's right. But these places that do have the option for remoting in, they really have to be on their P's and Q's about how they value the employees. Because there's always going to be a little more respect put on someone who's physically there, who made the effort to come in, versus the person that's working from home. Even if the person working from home is working twice, 3 times as hard as the person who's physically there, hanging out by the water cooler, that old trope.
I think we just need to rethink all of our, basically everything right now.
Sure.
We need to just rebuild from the ground up, basically everything.
Yeah.
Our entire medical system needs to be completely rebuilt. And then it's like, well, why don't we just retool all of the way that we work anyway? The 40-hour week was developed, for when we were working in factories and shit like that, and farming and everything. We don't necessarily need that anymore.
Yeah.
So, and they've done this in other countries with certain tech firms and stuff like that, where they're like, hey, they're working a 30-hour week, but we're just paying them salary. They're getting shit done. They're more productive. They're finding they're more productive.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're not overworking them, which is what we're basically doing to people.
All right. That's the real sweet spot right there. But they're not considering that aspect. They're just saying, oh, they're not in the office physically. We're saving money. It seems like they can do the job without being, monitored. So let's just keep doing this. Hopefully no one's taking that lesson away from it. But, conglomerates be conglomerating.
No, I mean the businesses that actually were paying full time, but they were like, we don't care if it takes you 50 hours or 30 hours. You're being paid what you're paid as long as you get your work done. That's how it should be. That's
ideal. Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine on Twitter earlier, and he was just saying it seems like the dream to be able to work from home, to not have to worry about things going on in the office without you being there, because everybody's at home now. Everybody's working from home. But when it comes down to it, it's like you have to set boundaries to uncouple from your work from home machine, because, people will call all hours of the day if that's the type of job you have. Those boundaries aren't in place. It just so happens the phone is ringing or those emails are coming in when you're not there. But when there is where you are all the time, back to your original point, then there's no way to really turn off work. Home stops being home. It just becomes the place where you sleep while you wait to work again.
I don't know. I guess I'm used to it. My dad always worked from home. Is always done remote work. and then traveled for work kind of thing. So to me, that's just normal. 9 to 5 is not normal.
Yeah.
Like going in for a daily grind has never been. My mom did, but she was doing secretarial work and stuff like that, but not my dad. So to me, that like working from home or like occasionally going in, but not really, like that type of existence seems very normal.
Yeah. Like
because I grew up with it, and then helped him start a business and stuff like that, and so that's just the extension of my knowledge. Yeah,
and I mean that's cool. Like I like that it's not just the same way for everybody, because everybody doesn't learn the same way, everybody doesn't work the same way effectively. Like my dad, I've talked about it on several podcasts before, so people generally know he's the event manager at McCormick Place. He's handled a lot of the events that come through, like the Black Women Expo, C2E2 he's worked with. But he can't really work from home because there's no work happening at the convention center right now. Something cool they are doing though is they're working with the federal government to make this an offsite hospital.
Good.
They can set up beds and stuff like that, and that's something that he campaigned for, and that they worked to get set up really quickly. It was supposed to happen in September.
This is all circumstantial. Obviously, we're always going to need people to, we're always going to need like waiting tables and like that, grocery workers, stuff like that, and they need to be paid properly and taken care of. But I'm just talking about like remote working there are some things that we're going in for that aren't necessary, I think.
Yeah. My heart goes out to the people that can't work remotely, that are still having to stay quarantined,
Yeah.
That does suck. But we're working through it. So, welcome everybody to Lex and Matt's Excellent Adventure. I'm Matt Peters.
And I'm Lex Lutz. You should know that by now. We're pretty far into this.
We are pretty far into this. We're coming to you live from our separate bunkers as we record.
That statement has never been truer. We are living bunker life.
Things are happening, y'all. Things are happening all over. But you know what? We're still here, and that's what's good. So,
sure.
I put a question of the day out there. Sometimes before we record, I'll put a question of the day out. Just to kind of get folks talking a little bit and, see what their reaction is going to be. Usually it's about snacks, as many of you know. But this time I asked, who has been your personal hero over these last few weeks? And I was expecting to get, some fun answers and all kind of funny stuff that I could read to you on the show.
No.
People got real sentimental, and I love that.
We're in the bad place, bud. We're all very sensitive little hoes right now, like just losing it.
Hoes mad? No, hoes sad.
Hoes sad. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So folks are just like, giving shout outs to their family and their friends and their pets and everything like that. And that's beautiful. And I'm glad, that folks are able to find some solace during this time. I'm sure you've heard about the community singing that's going on over in Italy and stuff like that, how they all lean out and they perform full, like, fucking operas out their windows and shit because they're cultured like that.
Right.
So Chicago tried it recently. Good friend of mine, Shannon Cyborski. I say good friend of mine. I know her kind of through Third Coast Comics. No, she's good people though. And so she asked in the Rogers Park group on Facebook. She's like, "What song should we sing?" And somehow, the people of Chicago unanimously came to "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi.
Okay.
And so 7 p.m. on Saturday night, people stuck their heads out of their back doors or the windows and sang "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. So, I mean, whatever gets you there. But what was really cool, Bon Jovi, put out an Instagram and just, said much respect to Chicago and everything like that. And he's like, "I'm tuning up. I'm ready to sing with you guys." So that was kind of fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there are lots of really cool stories out there. But yeah, it's mostly terrible.
Mostly terrible. Not all, but mostly.
What do you want from me? I mean, I'm not the clown right now. I can't play the clown.
Nope.
Everything's really shitty. I'm sorry, guys.
Everything is really shitty right now. We're trying to make the best of it. Something that I know does make you a little bit happy, at least, is that all your favorites are coming together and making two-person podcasts now and totally stealing our gimmick.
I mean, yeah, that I don't like the circumstances under which we are getting cool things like this, but yeah. We had Office Ladies was the first one to do it. That was later last year. They
were ahead of the curve. They knew. Yeah.
And now Donald Faison and Zach Braff are doing a Scrubs rewatch podcast.
That's right. It's called Fake Doctors, Real Friends.
Yeah, because they're best friends in real life. Very close. So they're stealing our entire friendship and everything.
I mean everything. The entire deal.
Yeah.
I like the surprise one that kind of came out of nowhere with John Krasinski, who
that was a YouTube thing, and I think he's gonna do more. I feel like he's probably gonna end up doing more of them. But yeah, he just was like, all right, I'm in my house. Let's make a good news network. And that was very sweet.
It's such a Jim thing to do. Like,
yeah.
I imagine him with his daughters just sitting down and just talking about everything in the world and just, let's put some good news out there and just
They made the little sign
that
was behind him.
Logo, yeah. And this
One
first
of his daughters is named Hazel, and I just think that's the cutest name ever.
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah, that's very cute.
It's classic, you know?
Shout out to all the Hazels out there. It's a very pretty name.
Shout out to Hazel Soup, you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was cool seeing him doing that. And of course, he had Steve Carell as his first guest. And, I mean, you can't ask for a better first guest than that.
Yep.
It's kind of cool. They just have that friendship where you can tell they genuinely like each other.
And it was the 15th anniversary of The Office, so they got to kind of talk about that.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Time does fly. What else? Something else. Well,
you
Colbert.
said Colbert and Oliver. What was that? I didn't see that.
Colbert's doing the from home shows like most of the late night guys are doing. Mm-hmm. And he had John Oliver as his first guest on there too. Yeah. Cool. I know John Oliver's back on HBO. And basically all he can talk about right now is the coronavirus. Yeah. That's all he's got. That's all he's got.
Have you seen any of his latest shows? Like I watched last week's, and it's just him recording from home.
Yeah,
it's very somber, but he still found laughs in it. Like I still laughed quite a few times.
I tell you what, I like John Oliver a lot, and I think his jokes hit home a little bit better without the audience. You know, he has a tendency when he's attempting to be funny, and I'm not saying that in a condescending way, but when he's telling jokes, he always kind of repeats the last line. Did you ever notice that before?
Yeah. He like he's working the audience.
Right. Like, oh, they reacted to this. Let me say it again. And it's like an old vaudeville sort of thing. And it just, sometimes it gets under my skin. Like, that's the only grating thing about him, you know?
Interesting.
But other than that, like, I think he's a very funny person. I think he's got a good perspective on everything. He's got amazing writers as well, I'm sure. But his delivery during these last couple episodes has just been so just pointed and just spot on. And I'm sure with the ability to do, like, however many takes they need, that does help a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he's great. I mean, it's amazing how much he's flourished since The Daily Show in that same format.
Yeah, it is. It's very strange how they are still managing to make content too. I think you're seeing how many creators are very restless extroverts. Like that's what I've noticed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, like, depressed, clearly.
Yes. Well, Hollywood can't work from
because
home.
like they're like trying to do anything to like get out, and they're going crazy so early. Like we talked about last week, where it's like you can tell who's the only child and who's not.
Right.
Like you're fucking losing it a week in, 2 weeks in. Like what? I don't know. That's just interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's great about Dee, because like she can just tune out and read or play a game or watch a movie or something like that while I'm swearing at my screen about work shit, without being like, what's wrong? Everything okay? It's like, no, he's got it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much that way too, like most of the time. Unless my anxiety's heightened and then I'm sensitive to everything, but just depends.
Yeah. So I was noticing earlier that with these frequent updates about celebrities who are going through and who are catching the coronavirus and everything like that, of course, on the trending thread on Twitter, there's always like just some random celebrity name, and you don't know, like, okay, did they die? Did they get it?
Yeah.
Are they okay? Is it a joke? What's going on? And always, there's a hero that posts that same gif of Denzel Washington just relieved, so
clutching
everything's okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that meme, because as soon as you click that name, you see Denzel, you know it's okay. And I saw somebody getting annoyed by that meme. I'm like, no, this is a godsend, because it prevents you from having to go down like a rabbit hole. Like, okay, what's going on? What happened to Bam Margera? Is he okay? Great. Yeah. Okay, back to what I was doing.
No, it's just an old clip that's from 2003 that's resurfacing of him skateboarding or some random shit like that.
Yeah. Jack Black. Oh no, what happened to Jack Black? Oh, he's just dancing in his backyard in cowboy boots because he's playing Red Dead Redemption 2 because that's all he can do right now. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Have a great time, Jack Black.
Yeah. Well, have you been watching any shows? What's your show right now?
I made a list, actually, of stuff that I've been wanting to check out. So I posted this on Facebook the other day. I posted on my general. I posted in the show stuff as well. But so far, I have watched the rest of Curb Your Enthusiasm for this season. It was a pretty good season. I enjoyed it. I've been digging into Twin Peaks. I'm still not at a point where I feel comfortable enough talking about Twin Peaks yet. That's
completely fair. You're never going to feel comfortable talking about Twin Peaks. I'm just letting you know that now. But yeah.
I mean, I really want to do that deep dive. And just really. I
still want to watch that video. Someone sent us a video.
Someone sent us a video. Sorry, things are shit, and we apologize for not remembering exactly who sent it.
One of our Sweet Chili Baby friends sent us a video that's like fucking 5 hours long or something like that on YouTube, going over Twin Peaks, and I'm like, oh, that's gonna happen at some point. It's gonna happen in chunks, but
yep.
I mean,
that's gonna happen.
The quarantine wears on.
After I get done watching the show, and then I get insomnia the next time that happens, then that's happening. I want to finish Hunters. Altered Carbon came back. I watched
the first 3 episodes of that. It's okay.
Yeah, it's wild. It's kind of out there, but I like that.
I mean, I like the old 70s blaxploitation type of feel.
Yeah.
That they throw in there. I wasn't expecting that, and I enjoy that so far.
Same. I'm glad there's a black person on the show, because at first it was looking kind of scarce, and then finally.
It is kind of a weird thing to do because a lot of them are Jewish. Mm-hmm. So like,
which, based on the plot, it makes sense. I get it.
Right. But then they're taking that angle. But then you also know that Jordan Peele is producing it. So it's like,
You gotta hire some brothers. Got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we are also sympathetic towards the plight. We understand. Let us help out.
I mean, that racism goes both ways,
That's right.
So it extends to when he was like, you have to separate the lights from the darks or whatever with the laundry.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, what?
Jesus.
This is some, like, she's eating the Fruit Loops separate from her milk.
Oh, yeah.
Get Out. moment. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, no, that was like, that was subtle. This was like as subtle as a hammer. And the poor girl who was folding laundry, just the look she gave him. Oh man, that deserves a series of its own. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So Twin Peaks, I've been told that I need to watch Onward, which I've been hesitating to do because you can buy it for $20 streaming, or you can wait for a couple of days now and catch it on Disney Plus. So
yeah. I'm not in the mood to watch. I still haven't seen the latest Toy Story. I don't want to watch a sad Pixar movie. So
oh, it's sad.
They're gonna make me cry. Like all of them are gonna make me cry. I'm like, I'm fucking cried out. No, I'm done. I'm not watching this sad shit.
Yeah. I went through a moment the other day because fucking man, yeah. So Onward, I'm gonna check that out eventually. Have you watched any of She-Ra on Netflix?
No.
I've heard great things about it. I was into He-Man and She-Ra when I was little, but I hear this is like a brand new thing, and a lot of my friends are recommending it. They say it's kind of got like a more like Steven Universe modern day type of vibe to it, so I want to check it out.
Yeah, I've never seen any of it. I don't know anything about it.
You're not watching Westworld this season, are you?
I tried. I couldn't get through the first episode.
It's pretty confusing. I mean, this is coming from somebody that paid attention just hardcore in those first couple seasons. But yeah, it's like I need a fucking idiot's guide to this show now. It's out there.
I don't think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They take so long in between seasons. I don't care anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, literally, it's like it was 2016, 2018, 2020 for 3 seasons.
That's a stretch, to say the least.
That's too much.
It's way too much.
It's not, and they're not paying it off well enough.
Right.
For that to be worth it.
But there was an Easter egg in this last episode that I'm sure you've heard about. That was kind of funny. Dragon. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. I'm glad you think it's funny, HBO.
I'm sure they filmed that before the backlash. At least I hope
sure
they did.
Yeah, they did. They definitely filmed that before the backlash, and they were like, ha ha ha, this is so great. You know what, HBO? You should have made those bitches stay with a better contract.
Yeah.
Or hire someone else. That's the part that, never mind, I can't do it. I can't. I'm too angry about too many things.
You can
I've
focus
done this too many times. All this has happened before. All this will happen again. I can't.
Dear adventurers, dear sweet chili babies, if you want us to revisit this open wound that is Game of Thrones, let us know. We shall discuss, and we'll come back to you if you so desire.
Maybe that's what I should do right now. Maybe I should be rewatching Game of Thrones.
Yeah?
No. How about no? Never mind.
How about no? But you can watch Picard and Twilight Zone on CBS.
I keep forgetting to sign up for that. Or whatever.
I do. Yeah. I signed up, and so now I'm on the clock. I got to get in there before it goes away. I think I started to mention this earlier. Altered Carbon and Ozark are both back with new seasons, so I'm looking forward to those.
I tried watching Ozark. I got through the first episode, and I was bored the hell. I couldn't. I just didn't like it.
It's a beautiful show, though. Like, it's just shot so beautifully. Like,
yeah, but that's not enough to keep me nowadays. There are lots of beautiful shows. I gotta you really have. There's too many options out there. You really have to put me in.
It's a slow burn. And that's the way it is with a lot of the Jason Bateman projects. Like, it's a very slow burn. But it reeled me in because it hit at the right time. I had just gotten a new TV. It's like Ultra HD and all that.
Yeah.
And this was one of those shows that Netflix produced in that format. So I'm like, wow, look at those trees. You can see every single fucking leaf. It's amazing. And then by the time the season was over, I was barely noticing, the high fidelity of it. But it's good. I like it. It's okay.
I've been watching Castle Rock.
Rock.
The first season of that, because I had only seen the first episode when it came out. That's the Stephen King show on Hulu.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's very weird.
That's the one that kind of tips its hat to all his previous projects, right?
It's like the entire universe wrapped up.
Mm.
So I know that Lizzie Kaplan is doing the Misery role in the second season, which is one of the reasons why I'm revisiting it. Because did you ever watch Masters of Sex?
No, never saw it.
So that was a Showtime show that was under the radar and I think it only ran for like 4 seasons. I didn't see the last one, maybe the last 2. I don't know. It was her and Michael Sheen. And so, like, if you see Lizzie Kaplan, you know who she is. It was Lizzie Kaplan and Michael Sheen, and the show was about the Masters Johnson sex study of the 50s and 60s, and, like, the behind the scenes, like, how that all went about, because it was a really groundbreaking study on human sexuality. The show was so well done. I could not believe it was so under the radar. It was it was a really incredible show. What I saw of it, I didn't catch because it was on Showtime. I missed the last like season or so, but what I saw of it was just fantastic. So I really love Lizzie Kaplan. So I was like, okay, she's in this new show, or she's on Castle Rock. So let me revisit Castle Rock and see how I feel about this show. So I'm like a couple episodes into that. It's pretty good.
Neat. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm vaguely interested in this ESPN documentary that's going to be debuting early because they kind of have to. They got nothing else. It's about Michael Jordan around the time that the Bulls were just like on fire. So that should be interesting. It's been a while since something has revisited that in such a intense way, like with an intense lens, I guess. So it'd be fun to revisit that. Those were interesting times in Chicago. I
mean, I want to see them do an in-depth documentary about the making of Space Jam.
It's a lot of drugs and a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Whole lot of money.
I had no clue that was just based off an ad.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't until I listened to How Did This Get Made.
Right. Oh, man. Oh, they tore it to pieces. Like, nothing can ever top that. It was so good.
Well, they were accurately assessing the movie based off of the movie, not based off of nostalgia. That's the problem people have with Space Jam. They think it's a good movie because they watched it a lot when they were a kid. It is not a good movie.
It is not.
You just watched it a lot when you were a kid.
Nothing in that movie has aged well.
It was bad then.
It was bad then. Like, even if you go back and you look at the cover of the actual movie, the Photoshop of Michael Jordan is so bad. It's so bad. Like, his neck is all weird. Just, trust me. Take a look. It's weird.
It's a very, very weird movie.
The part where he stretches his arm all the way to the rim, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then, like, Bill Murray's in the movie, and what the fuck is that? Yeah. Go listen to that episode of How Did This Get Made. Isn't it Bill Murray?
Yeah, but I'm saying, is he really in it? Like, does he know he's in this movie?
Oh, well, that's a fair question.
Because, fuck. He's like, I'm hanging out with Michael Jordan for a couple weeks. This is my dream. This is what I'm doing.
I watched the second Zombieland movie.
Oh, how was that?
It was okay.
Okay.
But they had a moment where, like, it was like Woody Harrelson walked up, and it was Rosario Dawson is in the movie, and it was her character going, "Oh shit, I almost Bill Murray'd you." And then like, wait, what? What's a Bill? What do you mean? What are you talking about, huh? And they were like acting like they didn't know what she was talking about. She's like, you know, when you think someone's a zombie but they're not a zombie and you fucking kill them anyway. So like the way that they switched that joke and were like, I almost Bill Murray'd you. Oh no, is Bill Murray dead? Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Man, so speaking of Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Found out that Sony is going to be pushing back their basically all of their high-profile films are going to be pushed back to next year at this point. They've revealed that Marvel's Morbius, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
God, what are we going to do without Marvel's Morbius over the summer?
I know. What else are we going to hate on?
Jared Leto's going to come out of the desert in like a month and be like, what happened to Morbius?
I read something about him where
yeah. That was the joke of he was in the desert for like probably in his cult sucking cock or something off in the desert. And he's like, comes out and he's like, is there a virus going around? We're like, yeah, bitch, where you been?
And if you want to go out in the desert and suck dick, that's up to you. Just don't do it in a cult. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. You know, that's not even fair to compare those things because one is consensual and apparently what Jared Leto does is not consensual usually. He's an abuser and shit.
Just ask the entire cast of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck Jared Leto, a piece of shit. He shouldn't be working.
Nope.
Just based off of that Suicide Squad stuff alone, he should not be working.
It really is amazing how everybody backtrack on that too, because they didn't want to get blacklisted in Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, it's just so apparent.
Used condoms to Margot Robbie.
Yeah, and then, you ask them about it now, and it's like, oh, he was a little eccentric, but yeah.
He's an artist. What can I say? Say fuck off?
Yeah, boys will be boys,
Tom Hanks is one of the greatest actors. He doesn't do that shit.
Oh, speaking of great news, Tom Hanks is okay.
Mm-hmm. Still isolating, but back home.
Yeah. Him and Rita are doing just fine.
Yeah.
They're back. That's good.
Yeah.
So,
great news.
Oh, yeah. Ghostbusters Afterlife, Peter Rabbit 2, Uncharted. All those movies pushed back to 2021.
Uncharted dies again.
It's right up there with New Mutants as the movies that don't actually exist, but they keep acting like
New Mutants does not exist.
Nope.
It is a fan-made trailer that Maisie Williams somehow agreed to participate in.
It's a deep
fake. That movie
fake.
Does not exist.
It's a deep fake. Prove me wrong.
It's a deep fake. It's not real. Deep state, deep fake.
Deep fake, deep state.
That's the title of this episode. Deep state, deep fake. Yeah, I just no, it's not real.
No, absolutely not. Because it makes no fucking sense for it to not have come out already.
Yeah, they delayed In the Heights, I believe. Was that Sony or is that Universal?
I believe that's Universal. The other movies from Sony that you may know that I don't. Greyhound, Fatherhood. And, that's it.
West Side Story, I believe, was delayed too.
Man.
Which is Paramount? I don't know.
I do wonder about those films that were pushed back when we were more optimistic. Like Wonder Woman was pushed back to August. So. I mean, we have to see. It's really like just looking at how things go now, but I have a feeling that stuff like that's just gonna go digital. Yeah.
I mean, they have a film done, and they're gonna shelf it for however long. With some of these other films, they're not done yet, so it makes sense for them to shelve it.
Right. There's a lot of stuff that stopped filming on the Marvel end because they were all filming simultaneously. Eternals is done. It's in post-production, but Shang-Chi was still in filming, and that,
There's no reason why, at least Marvel, couldn't release the movies digitally on Disney Plus and then release it in theaters. They will still make a shit ton of money.
From a marketing standpoint, I mean, look at this. Okay, see, this is what I was talking about. We were talking about the death of theaters and all that stuff. The silver lining is that these streaming services are going to have such a feather in their cap. If Disney Plus just dropped New Mutants today and just said, hey, here is the, long lost Fox Marvel movie. You never thought you'd see it, but here it is. Just for you guys now. Watch it for a limited time, for the next month that's on Disney Plus. And it goes back in the vault until we decide to, put it in theaters.
Release it in theaters, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Wonder Woman. It would be a feather in the cap for HBO Max or DC Universe if they still care about that.
I would sign up for one of those to see Wonder Woman. I was going to go see it in theaters. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They don't even have to give a free trial. If you just say, look, give us $10, the same money you would spend to go see this at the theater, you can see this movie and a whole lot of other stuff too.
I mean, I do think that they are aware, though, they don't want to kill movie theaters at the same time. So they have to be mindful of that.
Well, that's
Even though, they want their digital to do well. There's a lot of people in Hollywood that do not want theaters to die.
Yeah.
So, powerful people.
We talked a little bit last week about brick and mortar comic shops, and we're now finally at D-Day where Diamond Distributors is not going to be shipping books for the foreseeable future. So this week, DC and Marvel and, the other publishers as well, they had to make a decision whether or not they would release their content digitally since people couldn't get it physically. So they ultimately both decided to withhold on digital releases. I think it took some convincing for DC, but ultimately they both decided not to put the comics out.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I mean, at the very least, delay them for now and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what the timeline will look like. But yeah, it's not good. Like, a lot of shit's gonna suffer for it, unfortunately. We're really gonna have to support local businesses when they get up and running again.
I saw
stores and everything like that.
Right. I saw a press release. I get the weirdest press releases, I swear to God. YouPorn sent me one saying that in light of recent events, they offered to air the films from the Cannes Film Festival that would have, gone there on their site for free. But no, they turned them down. They sent me a press release with the idea, and then they sent one saying, yeah, they told us no. Anyway, porn.
Anyway, porn. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, that was a gamble, youporn.com, but no thanks.
I saw someone tweeted a picture of burnt Pompeii skeleton where the guy is clearly masturbating. Yeah. And they were like, now you fucking understand this guy, don't you?
You're right. Yep. Pretty much.
Yep.
A lot of babies gonna be born. Whole lot of babies.
I actually don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I read today that China, now that they're on the other side of this, there's been an uptick in divorce filing. So
I think we're going to see more of that. And there's a lot of people that are separate, that they just physically weren't able to. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a drop in the 9 months from now, like time frame of kids being born.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Boy howdy. So I guess only time will tell.
Yeah, that's literally the least of our worries. So
exactly. Everything is just a wait and see right now, but it's interesting to observe. I mean, these fucking wrestling has been a sight to behold. It's so fucking weird. Because no one can come. They're just performing for a camera. And you hear all the yells, you hear all the calls, you see. It's just really weird.
That's going to be, they had a couple of years ago, was it at the Boston? I believe after the Boston Marathon bombings, they played baseball in empty stadiums.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, I believe that was the specific incident that had them play without anyone in the stadium for however many days. And it was very weird. And from everything that I've read, that is the normal, probably for another year. Until we get effective treatments and vaccines, we're going to have, things are not going to just completely revamp. It's going to be very slow. Restaurants will still be seated further apart. Yeah. Gatherings of more than 50 people or so are not going to be possible. There aren't going to be any concerts for the rest of the year.
That middle seat is not going to be taken up in an airplane.
No. It's going to be very weird, basically, until we get either a very, very effective treatment, it goes away, which is not likely. What? I thought I just heard some. Was that Dee?
No. She's got her headphones on. I heard it too. I thought it was coming from your end.
No.
Wild.
What the fuck? That was weird.
Yeah.
That was creepy. Okay.
That's
that was
the
just
first
like a
time.
full-on voice.
See, we called out the deep state. That's what it is.
Shit. Yeah.
Fucking Hollywood fat
These
cats.
are going to be weird for a really long time, unfortunately, until a vaccine or effective treatment develops, which is like a year out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So this is going to be, not to say this complete isolation is going to be the way that it is for that amount of time. That's not what they're saying. But what they're saying is that a lot of the normal things, like going to a baseball game, like they're going to probably end up playing baseball to empty stadiums and things like that. Just, it's going to be weird for a while.
You know what else is going to be weird for a while is stand-up. Every single bit's going to be about this situation for a good, 6-7 months.
Yeah.
Because that's all that they did. That's everything that happened in the world was just this.
Yeah, movies are really going to suck for a while. One-man plays are going to be unfucking bearable, and they were already unbearable.
True.
Yeah.
Well, as it happens, of course, we will discuss here on Lex and Matt's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
Everybody's having a bottle episode, so we're going to do our best to make ours as interesting as possible. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. If you have something you want us to promote, art that you're creating, your Patreon, whatever, let us know. We love doing that, especially for our artist friends and everything like that.
Right on.
Our Patreon is patreon.com/LexandMatt. We are holding off on physical merch for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of shipping and safety and everything like that. But if you sign up expecting physical merch, even if for some reason you have to cancel, as long as your billing went through and I can see it, just shoot us a message. I know that you're going to, that you paid for it. I'll make sure that it's taken care of, even if it's a little bit late. As of now, all of our digital episodes are open to everyone.
Yes.
We'll probably lock that back down mid-April, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because it is it's paying for the show. So
true.
But we want to give people, it's almost like we're giving you the HBO free weekend kind of thing, but longer.
That's right. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. And if you go on there and, it's free, you listen to them, you enjoyed it, but you're not signing up, that's okay. But if you feel like throwing us some pennies, we'd appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tip your waiter, as they say, So.
Oh my God. Tip all of the waiters. Tip the delivery people right now. And then when we get back into the swing of things, even if it's halfway, tip the shit out of those waiters and waitresses.
Right. I want to give some special love to everybody working in the healthcare industry, of course.
Yes.
Not only the nurses and the folks that clean up the hospitals, the janitorial staff and everything, the maintenance crew, also the people working in pharmacies. Those people are unsung heroes too, because they are. If the hospitals are the front line, they're right behind that front line because. Directly after you go there, you have to deal with them, and you're, having to interact with them physically. Yeah,
and our grocers and people, there are people out there delivering food, and there's a lot of risky things that people are doing to make sure that we're taken care of. So it's pretty great.
Yeah. Proud of us Americans. I'm proud of the world coming together at a time like this and really doing what we can for our fellow human beings and being a little bit more compassionate and understanding with your time and with your love. And, thank you. Thank you for being you.
Yeah. Thank you for being what? We're thank you for being.
That's it. Thank you for being. That's the whole thing. All right. So anyway, now that I've gotten all fucking sappy, I'm Matt Peters.
And I'm Lex Lutz.
Be excellent to each other.
Bye, everyone. Wash your fucking hands.